Suena Challengers Deep, suena Zero to Midnight y de esa manera arrancamos el programa del día de la fecha. Así arranca esto, la fábrica del día de hoy, esta sección, esta parte del programa en donde repensamos, redefinimos, reanalizamos todo lo que tiene que ver con la industria de la música, esta actividad que hace un puñadito de años nada más precisaba de barcos, de aviones, de containers, para llevar de un lado al otro del planeta Tierra todo lo referido al mundo del arte, de todo lo que se te ocurra, desde el cine, el teatro, lo que se te ocurra, y ni hablar de la música, y para hablar de todos estos cambios, estas marchas para un lado, para el otro, para arriba, para abajo, que nos nutrimos de diferentes diálogos. Hemos hablado con productores musicales, hemos hablado con sonidistas y con muchos músicos, como es el caso del día de la fecha, donde nos vamos para Estados Unidos para hablar con los amigos de Challenger Deep, que ya están conectados con nosotros. Hello, hi, are you listening good? I'm Manu, here is Raulo, how are you?
Good, man.
Hey, guys.
Bien.
Hola.
Check sound. Hola, hello. Bueno, mandale, Raulo, mandale vos y ya arrancamos con esto.
Perfecto. Thanks for wake up so early in the morning.
Yeah, no problem.
No, perfect. Estamos con la gente de Challenger Deep, vamos en vivo, arrancamos con la entrevista. We are live, we are going to start with the interview. Sí, cualquiera. Please tell us your full name, where are you from, and how old are you?
I'm James LaPierre. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm 33.
Okay.
I'm Jason Murray from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm turning 36 next week.
Okay. I'm going to make a little translation for the Spanish listeners. Estamos hablando con James y Jason, tiene 33 años y 36 y son de Atlanta, de Estados Unidos. And can you tell us which is your first memory of you listening to music?
I don't know about the first time I ever heard music, but I remember distinctly being in the car with my dad and listening to the radio, and it was a song called Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, and thinking, this song is incredible, and I want to do this.
Okay.
I remember my friends, when I was a kid, one of my friends had a PlayStation and a GameCube, and we would use the PlayStation to play music while running the GameCube to play video games, so we could do both at the same time. And they put on System of a Down's Toxicity, and that broke my brain. I had never, I had listened to Eminem and Blink-182 and Eiffel 65 and whatever was just on around, but System of a Down opened my brain in a way that I could not, and I listened to nothing except them for 2 years.
Wow. So, how old were you when you listened to System?
9 or 10.
9. Wow.
Claro.
Sí,
Sí,
Toxicity.
en el 90, bro.
Claro, sí. Toxicity, maybe.
Yeah, but even the first song, Prison Song, just the dun, 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 it changed my life.
And can you tell us where did the music came from when you were with your family? From the radio, from MTV maybe, or from where?
Just either usually friends. My parents, I wouldn't say have very good musical taste. I didn't grow up like my parents like to listen to Sting and Seal and Enya, which is fine, but it's very new wave, kind of just background music. But just hanging out with friends, I would usually get exposed to much better music.
Okay, and for you, James?
Yeah, same thing here. My parents liked a lot of classic rock stuff, like Pink Floyd, Foreigner, stuff like that. But my friends really introduced me to metal, which is kind of what inspired me to start making music. Stuff like Metallica, System of a Down, Tool.
Tool.
So, yeah.
Tool, they are incredible. Tool.
Oh yeah.
Puf, incredible.
Fantastic band.
Bueno, estábamos hablando con los dos, nos decían que más que nada los padres no los influenciaron demasiado con la música porque escuchaban más música clásica. Nos estaba hablando James, el otro que ¿cómo se llama? Estaba con los amigos. Manu, es la primera vez que música mediante los videojuegos, o sea, estaban jugando videojuegos y escuchaban música.
Han salido los videojuegos ya.
Yo no me acordaba, puede ser
Sí,
que hayan salido,
ya
sí.
Salido.
Y bueno, pero que más que nada los amigos son los que los influenciaron y vienen de un background heavy metal. Sí, dale. Can you tell us which was your first concert?
The first concert that really had an impact. I had gone to a show before, but I wasn't interested in being there. But the headliner was Hatebreed. After the Burial played. The Acacia Strain played.
I feel like I was at that show.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I didn't know what I was in for. There were people stage diving and kicking me in the head because I was in the front. I was like, what's going on? But there was so much cool guitar work that night. I really felt like the impact of music and like how I saw the crowd reacting to that, and it was a really cool experience.
Well, it was on a big place or in a small place?
It was kind of small. Like I think the room was technically 1,000 cap,
1,000.
but it was like really packed in at a pretty famous music venue in Atlanta called the Masquerade.
Perfect. And for you?
I've got like different levels. So my technically first concert ever was Hanson, like bop 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 dot. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, and then the first concert like I went to as like a true fan was System of a Down and the Mars Volta.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was wild. But I could not appreciate Mars Volta at the time. I was just like, stop playing saxophone! Now I like go back in those memories, like I'll remember the songs. Like, wow, that was a really good show. I just didn't appreciate it. But then...
sorry, the question. How did the crowd, they were listening to Mars Volta or they make Pogo and that kind of things?
Oh no, everyone was into it. It was at an arena and it was crazy. It was objectively a very good show. I just could not appreciate it.
See, I have the chance to went to a Mars Volta concert, and I was with Chinese food eating and looking for them. They are incredible live. See, I only want to listen to them. You know, it was incredible for me the chance to watch them, and they are incredible live. Sí, es increíble. Sí, sí. And you were going to talk about another experience.
Oh yeah, and then the first show that I went to that was like at a smaller venue, it was at the same venue that he went to, the Masquerade. It was I think Throwdown and Evergreen Terrace. They were these like hardcore bands.
Ooh, yeah.
And all my friends were like, you gotta go in the pit, you gotta go in the pit. And I went in, and literally the first second I got punched in the face. And I went down, and they picked me back up, and they were like, that's what happens. And I was, for some reason, like, this is awesome.
Excelente, excelente. Sí, no, Throwdown, they are incredible. They are really heavy metal and fast music.
Yeah.
Muy bueno. Manu, tienen un background de heavy metal que me podría quedar hablando todo el día, perdón, pero... Sí.
Tengo una pregunta rara.
Sí.
Pero no nos pasó nunca algo, Raúl. Ellos son de Atlanta. Atlanta en el año 96 tuvo unos Juegos Olímpicos. Yo quiero preguntarles si a ellos sintieron algún impacto como jóvenes de esos Juegos Olímpicos o pasó sin pena ni gloria para ellos.
Sí. You know, we are from Buenos Aires. Now I'm living in Barcelona and Manu is in Buenos Aires. You have an Olympic game in Atlanta and you were really young. No, and how do you feel about that? We want to know because we never been on an Olympic game. You know, how does it feel the city and you? Or nothing.
It's hard for me to remember. Jason's a little older, but it was 1996, and I was 5 at the time, and I remember there being like a lot of like excitement, but I didn't really conceptualize that as a kid. I was like, oh, something cool is happening, and sports are being played and stuff. But there's a lot of like stuff around the city that still exists as adults that time. I was just going through the city the other day, and there's like the big Olympic rings and Olympic Centennial Park where they hosted a lot of the activities.
Okay, sí, bueno, Manu sí dejó su sello.
That was a big thing for Atlanta. Okay, I wanna know that if that was a big thing for Atlanta or
yeah, oh yeah, it was. Sure. I didn't live here yet. I grew up in Virginia, near Washington D.C., and I moved here when I was a teenager. But it was like the biggest deal ever.
Okay.
Like, it was a huge thing.
Sí.
And I actually went to Georgia Tech, and one of the entire like physical like fitness center was built for the Olympics, and like they have the Olympic pool and stuff there. So it's like there's a lot of evidence all around Atlanta that the Olympics were here and it was a really big deal.
Sí, wow, beautiful. Sí, bueno, Manu, te confirman que sí que fue realmente importante para las Olimpiadas en el 96 en Atlanta, y lo que ellos dicen que todavía hay un montón de cosas que se utilizan alrededor de toda la ciudad, y lo que nos está contando Jason que él fue a Georgia Tech, que es una universidad, y que toda la parte de la parte de deportes quedó de cuando hicieron de cuando hicieron las Olimpiadas. Muy bueno. Sí, can you tell us which was your first instrument and the first song that you learned?
Technically speaking, it was probably a recorder. In 5th grade, they had us do recording in music class, and it was Mary Had a Little Lamb. And the first instrument I kind of took seriously in middle school band was clarinet, actually. And, starting off on the same kind of stuff. And we would do, like, stripped down classical pieces in band. And I got pretty good at it. I was first chair for a couple of years. And then due to a clerical error, they never placed me in the high school band. So I said screw it and picked up guitar.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Sorry, how do you get your first guitar? It was a present?
Yeah, I expressed interest in it. I actually started on bass, and me and my little buddies at school were like, oh, let's start a band. And I begged my dad to like get me a bass, and we went to the music store one day. He's like, all right, we'll get you this little Squire P-Bass starter pack, and it came with a little shitty amp and a pretty rock solid Squire bass. Yeah, but got me where I needed to go.
Perfect. And for you,
I started on piano, but I did it for like a long time, and I was good, but it was basically like my parents forcing me to do it, and eventually I started to hate it. And I played saxophone in middle school, but then didn't keep up with that. I got good enough to be first chair one time, and I was like, all right, I did it, I'm done. And then switched to guitar because all my friends were taking guitar class when I was playing saxophone, and then I started taking guitar and they all quit. And then I just kept with it, and I was just so bad for like 10 years. And then eventually just like being in like all I wanted to do was be in bands, but I just didn't care about being very good at guitar. And then eventually I was just like, okay, I'm an adult now, and if I'm playing in bands, I need to actually be good.
Excelente.
You play saxophone too?
Yeah, I haven't played it in a long time, but yeah, I played it for a few years back when I was a kid.
And you think that was a sequel from the Mars Volta show?
That was before the Mars Volta show. But I've seen a lot more bands incorporate saxophone, like in rock. There's a band called Bill Murray, and they use saxophone. It's like metal and country and pop kind of stuff. It's really weird, but they have a really good saxophone player. And
here in Argentina, we have a band called Sumo, like the Japanese fight, that have a strange saxophone on his post-punk band with a saxophone, a reggae band with a saxophone.
Sí, in the 80s. Really strange one. Es increíble.
Vamos con la banda, amigo.
Dale, perfecto, sí. Can you tell us how did Challenger Deep begin, and why you put that name to the band?
Oh yeah, it started in my bedroom. I was really depressed, and I thought, what better description for a band and my feelings than the lowest point on earth, And I was just writing songs in my room, and I had dropped out of college, and I didn't really have a lot going on. I was like, I didn't really have a lot of direction in my life, but I did have music, and I still enjoyed writing songs, and that was like my outlet for what I was feeling at the time, and it still continues to be. And eventually, through different iterations, trying to get people together to like play this music with me, because I always wanted a full band, because like I can't write drums, and I can write guitar and bass, but I want everything played at the same time, and I want it fully realized. Eventually, our drummer Grant reached out to me and said, I'm not doing anything right now. If you want to get together, I know a bassist. He was talking about Jason, who had played bass once in his life.
One time ever.
Anyway, we all met up at a show. Pliny was playing that night, guitarist from Australia. and we met up, decided we wanted to make music like that, and the rest is history.
Perfecto. Bueno, nos estaban contando cómo empezó la banda, nos cuenta James que él estaba muy deprimido, bueno, dejó el colegio, tenía un montón de problemas, pero siempre estaba al lado de la música, o sea, siempre quería tener música, y eso fue un poco lo que lo llevó a armar una banda. Bueno, se fueron juntando con gente, y lo que él también nos contaba, que Challenger Deep, Manu, es el punto más profundo del océano, sí, sí, the deepest place on earth, sí, y que, bueno, por eso, por los sentimientos que tenía en ese momento, él quiso llamarla así la banda, así que bueno, y después el resto es historia, es todo lo que vamos viendo en internet. And can you tell us, in July of 2018, you released your first single, Welcome to the Show. How was the recording process of that first single?
Well, Jason told me that he heard about this guy, Corey Batista, and we had previously done like a recording with another guy, and it didn't really come out how we liked. And
it was very like record live in the room style a little bit more, and it didn't have the like production value that I wanted to go for. But I went to school with Corey, and I was like, for a while I was like, hey, we should use this guy, he's really good, and we didn't. Then finally we did, and yeah, we if you want to tell more, James.
Oh yeah, like Jason said, the original process was like we record live in the room, mic up the amps and stuff. With Corey, like we individually we hook up to the computer with like a digital modeler, like the XFX or the Kemper, and we just like run through our parts and take it a piece at a time. You know, we get it perfect, and you know, we record drums in another room, and the whole idea is to get it perfect. You know, this is going to be recorded forever, and you want to put your best foot forward. You want people to hear this and think, wow, that is an excellent piece of music. If people want to hear us like mess up and like be human, they can come see us live, because that's where we'll be playing the songs and messing up a little, and it'll be like a real performance. And it's not to say that the recording isn't, but we just want the best possible version of the song.
Wow.
And that works for us.
We have a tendency to write stuff that's maybe a little bit above where our current abilities are. So we record it, we get it perfect, and then we have, you know, the next like year or so of like practicing and playing shows and stuff to actually learn and how to like really nail those parts live. Like I look back on some of the studio videos and I'm like, wow, I was really struggling, but because of that, I'm way better than I was.
Right.
Wow. Bueno, Manu nos estaba contando, primera gran diferencia sí, entre otros grupos que tuvimos la oportunidad de entrevistar, es que ellos tratan de hacer lo más perfecto posible la grabación en el estudio. Entonces ellos tuvieron la oportunidad, bueno, de grabar con Corey, que es un amigo de Jason, que él ya le venía diciendo grabemos con él. Hicieron al principio, digamos, de la banda, hicieron un par de grabaciones así normales, digamos, tocando todos, pero bueno, ya con Corey, con una persona extra, digamos, un productor extra, querían llegar al nivel de perfección. Ellos se obligaban a ser perfectos, pues dice, esto es algo que va a quedar grabado y va a quedar grabado para siempre. Entonces quieren que sea perfecto. Después tienen para desarrollar toda lo que es la parte en vivo, shows y ensayos, pero ellos quieren que siempre las grabaciones queden perfectos para que la gente lo escuche y que sea lo mejor posible el desarrollo de la canción. Así que hacen una gran diferencia entre lo que es estudio, dice que se esfuerzan un montón para grabar, y después en vivo, bueno, después ensayan para tocar, y dicen que sí, que es realmente complejo a veces tocar algunas partes y que queden realmente perfectos como ellos quieran. 2 weeks ago you released your last EP, Zero to Midnight. You changed many things in the recording process. Incredible incredible songs. Do you change many things in the recording process, or it was more or less the same?
Pretty much the same. We recorded drums at a different studio, but with the same engineer and producer. That was the biggest difference. I would say now more than ever, we pay more attention to little details. We probably come to the studio more prepped, like, because some of these songs we've been playing live for a while, so we kind of have a better idea of like how to execute the parts properly, but it's still going through and like getting the parts right.
I think the biggest difference is the first album was very much just like guitar part, bass part, drums. That like we have 4 members, and that's pretty much what you hear. But the newer stuff, we were very much, at least me specifically, I was like, I want there to be this just like giant wall of sound going on behind. So some of the guitar parts, like there's like a low harmony, the part, a higher harmony, another higher harmony, and then like a bunch of background stuff. So I think we just put, it's still the same process, but we put just way more effort into just like every single moment. I want there to be like something that you're like catching or paying attention to, or even not even paying attention to, but there's something like interesting going on. So I think we just have, we've just been putting a lot more effort into the like the small details.
Perfecto, sí. And I have a personal question. Do you use for the sound, you know, of the band? Do you use the tools that you have, or you search for a sound?
A little of both. I would say as far as like the background layers and stuff, we had to do a little searching, like, you know, how to make this part sound a specific way. But for the most part, the sound of the band, like we have, Jason's got a Kemper, I've got an X-Pex.
Okay.
And we kind of dial in the tones, and then the producer comes through and is like, that sounds weird. Let me tweak this, tweak that. And that's about it.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would say that's actually another difference. Like when we recorded the first album, we spent a lot of time with our engineer, kind of like crafting the tones and spending that time. But as we've gone along, we are a lot better about having that stuff figured out on our own time beforehand. Like when I'm writing a song now, it has like effects and specific tones and stuff in mind, because I'm like, this is the vibe of this song, and I need to have a lot of that figured out ahead of time. So I would say, we've gotten better about having everything prepared when we go in to record. We're using the sounds that we know will sound good, but then we do spend a little bit of time, and we actually have a couple friends that have helped us out with like some of the electronic parts. But it's a mix.
Manu tiene Kemper, o sea, ya le voy a preguntar, do you know?
Haya mucho. Eso nomás.
Manu wants to know, I'm a bass player and Manu is a guitar player, so we want to know a lot of things, but do you rehearsal a lot or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ahí está, sí, se nota, sí, ensayan un montón.
Especially when we record, it's like, we'll practice so much ahead of time, but then even that, it's never good enough. We'll have to take parts like a few notes at a time sometime. Again, it's just all about getting it perfect.
Son obsesivos, Manu, son obsesivos, completely obsessed.
Tienen un lugar propio.
Sí, you have your own space, your own rehearsal room.
Kind of. Our drummer has enough space now. He moved into a new house, and we use his garage for rehearsal space.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've always been at the drummer's house, whether we were in his living room, and then his old house he built like a separate studio space that we used, and that was cool. But there was no air conditioning, so that kind of sucked.
For now, then you can buy one.
But now we're in the garage, and it's actually really not like we are an actual garage band.
Perfect, espectacular. Roots, espectacular. Yeah. Sí. Manu, le quería preguntar por la escena, y te parece si comparamos las tres escenas. Le quería preguntar de sí. We want to know something about the actual music scene of Atlanta, and we have the chance yesterday to interview people from Brooklyn, and we are going to interview after you people from San Diego. Can you make why do you think that Atlanta's scene is different from Brooklyn and from San Diego?
Well, Atlanta has a really big hip-hop scene, like rap and hip-hop, and I would say that's where like the true like music industry of Atlanta is. But there's a lot of rock bands that have come out of Atlanta. I'm friends with the guys in Starbenders and the Cal Stowboys and Microwave. Maybe they're not maybe you guys haven't heard of these bands, but they're doing really big stuff, and Atlanta has a really good music scene. There's tons of different venues that cater to every kind of music you can imagine. It does feel like sometimes like there's a lot of different music scenes. There isn't just like one big music scene. And it's a little fragmented. But yeah, if you like any kind of music, there's something going on in Atlanta.
Perfect. And you talk about rap and hip hop. You think that is really different from Brooklyn's scene? You know, Manu and me, we are fans of Beastie Boys. You know, so.
Oh, that's cool. I would say definitely like style-wise, it's different. Obviously, not being embroiled in that scene particularly, like I'm not really sure of the goings on day to day and like how the scenes, those specific scenes differ too much, but.
Muy bueno. Sí, bueno, Manu, hay evidentemente una diferencia muy grande y lo que nos estaba contando que Atlanta también tiene una escena de rap muy fuerte, pero que hay de todo. Wow. Sí, hay...
Y hablemos de Atlanta, después le preguntamos a los demás, como que a mí me pregunté la escena de Corrientes, yo no tengo ni idea.
No, yo sí, a mí me gusta. We are fighting about regions with Manu. Sí, I'm a big fan of music and I want to know that kind of thing. Sorry for the questions.
Sigamos la banda.
And do you have, we are going to keep on with the band, do you have any composition process?
Oh, Jason?
I would say usually we're just lucky if we have an idea.
Ooh.
It always feels like I'm really happy that someone has put this into my brain and allowed me to put it on a guitar. I think generally though, as we've gone, we have kind of dialed in a process where usually it's me or James that comes up with some kind of like riff or concept for a song, and we put in enough effort to where and we've gotten a little bit better about like recording stuff on our own and making demos, and like neither of us can write drums. Like it's just, we're not good at it. But there are a lot of tools now, like who is it in Periphery that made the Get Good drums, James?
Most of them.
No,
okay.
Fruity Loops.
There's a band called Periphery, and they put out a bunch of like really amazing automated samples that you can use. So usually it's like we'll put the riff and then we'll spend time looking up drum parts that like kind of get the idea across that it's good enough. And then we take it to our drummer, we play in the room, and then we just kind of go back and forth between like playing in the room, recording ideas on the phone, going home, making the demo better, and then we just ping pong back and forth until we have something that's like close enough to a song where we can go to the studio.
Perfect. Manu, tienen mucha información y aparte son bichos de estudio. Me parece que le dan un nivel de obsesión al sonido y a la calidad de tocada gigante, así que eso está muy bueno y es una gran diferencia con otras bandas con las que hayamos entrevistado. ¿Tenés alguna otra pregunta?
Do you use IA in the band, whether it's this composing or for making the Facebook, Instagram, or for asking how to make the list for a concert in any part of the of the band? Do you use that kind of tools or not?
Oh, AI?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I actually tried for the first time the other day because I have a lot of like behind the scenes studio footage to like edit together, and I'm trying to like lighten the workload on myself, and not having used it before, I couldn't really figure it out, and I tried to upload all the videos and it gave me an error message, and I'm like, nah, I'll do it myself, I guess. So as of right now, I don't think we've used AI for anything.
I think when we were putting together our release schedule plan, we did use ChatGPT to like come up with a few different concepts for like text to put with a post or like different ideas for music videos. So we have used it a little bit recently for like brainstorming stuff, but as far as like any of the music or actually any of the content that we've made, we haven't really used AI yet.
Oh, I will say when we released the vocal version of one of our singles, The artist who created the original art gave us an AI version of his original art. This was when AI was still relatively new, and
Yeah,
so
this was like 2019, 2020.
yeah, and so he was like, "Why don't y'all just use this? It's pretty cool. It looks like the original, but it's got its own thing." And so we're like, "Yeah, cool." And we also did that for the second vocal single, and then he hit us up and was like, "Hey, don't do that," because right around that time,
Yeah, the culture around it changed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because he was like, "Oh, look at this cool thing," and then he was like, "Oh wait, AI is like stealing all my art."
Excelente. Bien, Manu, muy buena pregunta. Me
Y yo
encanta.
lo uso para, I have a band and I use from the Instagram test, in the post, because I'm very sick person, I have very dark thoughts, and I better do that machine do that because
Yeah,
I got
no tengo que pagar, no, I have to pay,
Perfecto.
Es muy bueno chat para eso. Cerralo, Raúl.
Sí, I'm absolutely. I don't like AI. I like it because I think that it's another actor, in the music business, that kind of things. But I don't use it.
Raúl, you have to understand, you are the boomer. That's what you are.
Gracias, Manu.
The people that you.
I mean,
call
I'm kind of
boomer.
right there with you. I feel like a boomer too.
Gracias. Thank you very much. Two more questions. Sí, excelente. Can you tell us something about the future plans of Challenger Deep?
Yeah, we have a new single coming out May 6th. Is that right, Jason? May 6th, and I'm very excited for this one. We've got a video ready to go, and it's probably our heaviest song yet that anyone has heard. It's going to be extremely mean and in your face, and it's one of my favorites. We're dropping our album August 1st-ish. That's the plan right now, and hopefully we're gonna have it pressed to vinyl. That's the plan as well. It's got 13 tracks, 12 full songs, and so it's definitely our longest release to date. It's probably more than the length of our last two releases combined.
Yeah.
And I think we're going on tour around that
We're
time.
going on tour.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we were officially announced that, but yes, we're going on tour right around the time of the album release, and I'm thinking 2 weeks on the road, East Coast, maybe a little northern U.S., maybe a little beyond.
Doing a little bit of US, doing a little bit of Canada.
Perfect. Sí. And we are going to send you the links for from the record labels, that work with us in the radio. Maybe you can check them and see if something happening
Pablo,
in Europe.
Sí.
Sí. Manu.
¿De qué marca es la guitarra que usa en The Great Calamity, que tiene como una pequeña guitarrita en el diapasón?
He wants to know the brands of the guitars.
In the Great Calamity
I heard Great
video,
Calamity.
Oh,
because they have a little guitar in the diapason, ¿cómo se dice diapasón en inglés, Raúl?
Sí, in the mástil, in the fret.
Bastil, the fret.
Charvel.
Charbel is the guitar.
I think both me and the other guitarist at the time were using Charvels. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Ahí la fue a buscar. No, tremendo, buena data.
It's like,
Nice
Oh,
information.
We use a good number of brands. We have Gibson, Ibanez, Charvel.
Uf.
Yeah, that's
yes, esa, boludo. Yeah.
Charvel.
Excellent.
those are good.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful guitar.
I love this guitar.
Beautiful guitar.
we got
Son buenos los
Strandberg.
pibes estos, ¿no?
Sí.
Different ones.
Beautiful. Challenger Deep, really thanks for your time. We really appreciate talk with you. It's been a pleasure. We are going to send you the links from the record labels and that kind of things after when we finish the live show. Just to finish the interview, we are going to play Scavenger. Can you tell us something about that song?
I feel like I wrote the bulk of it, so like as I was writing it, I was in like a really messed up headspace from like a bad relationship ending, and then the pandemic was like right before that, and there was a lot of bad stuff going on, and I was just trying to like scavenge and pick up the pieces of like anything positive I could find. And yeah, I think I was just trying to make a song that grooved, but it was like cool. It elicited some emotions. We had our friend Cameron Richardson play the violin on that song. Fantastic instrumentalist. Also, he's a way better guitarist than I am, which pisses me off. And that was one of the first times I think we wrote a part in the room. Like the whole outro to the song was done, like all 4 band members just jamming on the track, and I think it turned out really cool.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate to talk with you. We keep in touch, okay? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Have a good one.